Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, the last Thursday of 2021. We finally get to put this crap year behind us and move on to another crap year, which is going to be 2022. Um, yeah, I mean, stuff's gotten weird, huh? At the end of the year, just when we thought it wouldn't get any weirder. So, in order to, I guess, I guess, jump onto the weirdness, we decided to shift from our usual weekend stakes preview because we did have an emergency happen today. Mark, did you know that there's a double carryover at Aqueduct tomorrow?
Oh, I am aware.
Yeah, even though you were skiing today instead of playing the single.
I was, but that's because I knew it was going to carry again. So I was just waiting for the double carry tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I didn't realize it carried until, somebody pinged me about it early this morning and didn't have much I could do at that point.
Speaking
Brian,
of
what's more egregious? Sorry to cut you off. What's more egregious? Mark missing a Naira carryover or you missing a Hawthorne carryover?
I'd say Mark missing a Nairo because, if you think back to the summer of 2018, the wind was blowing from the east at 5 to 7 miles an hour. And one Mr. Mark declared he only played Nairo. Remember those days?
Dude.
Then Delta Downs happened. So
it was all downhill from there.
I'm embarrassed for you.
I have a lot of achievements in my life I'm very proud of. Marrying my beautiful wife, probably number one on top of that. Probably a close second after getting married to my wonderful wife might be taking part in turning Mark into a complete degenerate.
I think your wife would understand if she was number two. I think
she probably would.
And it was a much harder journey to turn Mark into a degenerate, wasn't it?
Yeah, what's funny is number 3 is probably turning my wife into a partial degenerate. Because now she bets on horses. She bets on. She'll play the slots with me when we're in Vegas. We'll buy scratch offs every once in a while. I mean, she's starting to get into it.
There you go, Gamblers Anonymous. You have a new spokesperson for 2022, Josh Cherry Drank Rodriguez.
Yeah, if you need to drum up some business, I can assist in helping with that. One man who needs no assistance in being a complete degenerate is one Caleb Knight. Caleb, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm hanging in there. It's been a week.
You didn't play the carryover, did you?
No, I did not. I played the late pick 3. It's the only bet I made today, and I hit it for like $1. So I had a good day.
So Caleb, we were playing video games earlier today, and I was like, oh, there's a late pick 6 carry. There's a pick 6 carryover, and you're like, oh, like you didn't even look at it. How long did it take me to cap that sequence?
So we were in queue for a game, and just imagine, you get on any video game or whatever, you click, okay, quick play, find match, it loads. It takes, I don't know, a minute maybe to find, 6 other players or 8 other players and throw you into a lobby. Like in the span that we queued up and then got into a match, I'll be generous and say it was like 3 minutes. Like he capped all 6 races and put a bet
in. And what leg did you bust out on?
I busted in the first.
He went 5 out of 6 though.
No, I went 4 out of 6, unfortunately. You hit that late pick 3. The disgusting part is I did hit a double with my key in that whole thing was that Tom Morley horse, the 3. I think it was in like leg 4. So I cashed a double into that with my 2 horses and paid a nice enough that I have stuff to fire for tomorrow. So it'll be good. Yeah, here we go. Pure Gone Gaming chat. Yeah. After this, you will catch Caleb and myself streaming some League of Legends. So check that on Twitch TV / On the Wrong Lead. I'm half joking that might happen, but anyways,
Depends how much bourbon we have.
yeah, it depends how much bourbon we have. I started off with last year's Jack Daniel's special release rye. Um, Unfortunately, I think this one's coming to its end. I probably got like maybe 2 pours left in it, and it's very sad because this might be one of the best bottles of bourbon I've ever had.
You
So
can finish
if
the
you
bottle. That's all it's basically done. You can finish that.
Yeah,
That's like
I
4
could
baby
tonight.
sips.
Oh, little baby splashes.
No, that stuff's like 132 proof or whatever. It's save that for tomorrow.
Steven saying if we stream, maybe Vengi will join. Vengi, aka Young Maivia. We did a little podcast with him on. It was probably about 3 weeks ago. Is one of the guys from Discord, and he's just a young guy who is involved with horses. Likes to play the game, and I always just like talking to friends of mine and people just to get a little bit different, just get different people out there than just the same people over and over again. If you guys have not seen, I did interview a Caitlin Free this week, so that's up on our podcast feed. Yeah, enough of what we got going on there. Let's jump into this pick six. All right, it's gonna start in race 3. Mark, what's the carry? It's like 190,000.
Oh, let me look. I give you an exact
Pull
number.
it up. It is mandatory tomorrow. It would probably help if I pulled up Aqueduct instead of Turfway Park, which is going right now. Yeah, we're gonna start with a maiden claim in 40,000, going 6 furlongs. For 2-year-olds, at least it's late season 2-year-olds, so we can't complain too much here.
195,763.
Gotcha. So that's going to be nice. Now remember, NYRA does tax the new money more than it does normally, so it'll still be positive expectation or close to it. So either way, it's going to be takeout reducing. So definitely, if you can, get involved. If you can't, get friends involved. Get in there. Stephen Fox saying like taking the friends. This is why we never hear from Brian. Brian, why don't you go first?
So I'm driving through a tunnel. What'd you say? What? There's a big tunnel here.
Well, we tried it last week to have you go first every time, and you're like, of course. You're like, I had no time to cap, and you want me to go first here.
I wasn't really prepared last week, so I can appreciate that. I thought this was an interesting race. I'm afraid of the one because I think You Can't Whip It could be a little pace advantaged here. And looks like Timeform kind of agrees, depending on what product you're using. So, but I don't think the one can win. But it's kind of that race. What was it? Was that Monday? I think somebody had gotten loose in the lead and on a horse that was like 10-1 or something silly. Had no business winning. Maybe it was Sunday. I don't remember exactly.
Might not be talking about Jakarta.
No. Moment of silence for Jakarta. That horse might be the best horse in training right now. Right, Josh?
18-1. I can't believe I left that. Was it 18-1? It was something stupid. I can't believe that. I still can't believe that.
Oh, see, so there you go. You have the one as an A with Jose aboard. So now I'm even more scared. But I'm not sure I'm scared or if that's a stronger play against here. But I landed on the 6. Good Skate. I think Good Skate looks to be the best here. I do like Trevor McCarthy. He seems to be riding really well since he came back from California. Whoa. You ever just lose your train of thought in the middle of a sentence? Sorry. Looking at the last out 3 weeks ago at Aqueduct, the horse was coming into form, probably the best form we saw. I'm thinking maybe the horse just didn't like Belmont. I'd like to tell myself that anyway. Saratoga, that's just a completely different thing. The horse was gelded back in August and probably going to be short. The question is this, if I'm going to take a stand in the pick 6, I'd like race 6 and 7. I'm probably a little deeper than I need to be. So I need to be narrow here. So besides the 6, I went with the 3, Running Son of a Gun. But it's Dylan Davis, and I hate Dylan Davis. The best thing that come out of the Davis family this year was Katie's baby. And I'll let somebody else talk now because I'm just digging myself a hole.
Yeah, I took a look at these first two races, and I think the first two legs of this pick six sequence are the hardest two legs. And if you can figure them out, the rest of it's a lot more approachable. But I do agree. I think Brian's six makes some sense in here. I know Brian said the one you can't whip it doesn't. He didn't like the horse, or thought the horse would be a pace player, but couldn't win. I actually think this horse can win. I think that if you're looking at a horse who has shown speed and faded twice now, gets a ton of class relief, biggest class drop in racing. And for some reason, Kelly Breen is one of those trainers that just every time he's got a horse, I just assume it's live because he's hurt me more than just about any other trainer. I realize he's been a little cold to start the meet, but his horses tend to run. Interesting angle here. They shipped from Delaware to Aqueduct to run on a turf race. Obviously they didn't plan on going from June to December, so something happened. But I did think the one was actually pretty interesting here, and a horse you're going to get a little bit of a price on. Two other horses I thought were interesting. I do think that Dylan Davis, the three, is, I don't know, a very likely winner, one of the major players in here, and as a horse you have to use. But I think it's very interesting to see this horse ship in from Churchill Downs. I don't quite get why they're shipping a Kentucky bred to New York out of Churchill, unless they're playing the Linda Rice game, which is just that there's a lot of really talented horses there, and they're going to looking to ship them into different markets to run them. I don't really get why that horse is here. So it was a bit of a head scratcher. A horse that probably can win as well. But in the third one that I liked in here quite a lot was the 7, John's Electric Ride, the Rudy Firster with Manny up. I think this is a race that I don't see any really outstanding horse. I don't see any horse that looks like a monster in here. So give me a horse that's, the first timer in here that's a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm not a huge Manny fan, but Manny and Rudy are really good at Winter Duct. And Rudy's about 16% debut maiden claim. They tend to take a lot of money. You tend to know with Rudy Firsters if they are live by the money that they take. Being the first leg of the pick 6, you should be able to take a look here. And I thought the 7 was fairly interesting. And another kind of interesting angle, just as somebody who plays a lot of pick 6s, you get a field with a bunch of starters. If you get a maiden firster, it will really juice up like a pick 4, pick 5, pick 6 sequence, because a lot of people don't know what they have, so they don't know how to approach them. So there's a little bit of a game theory there as well.
I don't have anything particularly unique to add here. They covered all the horses I thought made some sense here. I'd probably give the nod to the 1.
How's it feel, Caleb? How's it feel?
Well, I feel like at this point we're just throwing out the horses that can't win and then talking about every other one. But I do agree this is a tough race. I like the one the best here, who Mark kind of touched on. I just think speed on the drop is always an angle that I like.
Yeah.
The 3 makes sense. I don't like it at 9-5, but that horse won't bounce me. I have a pick 6 in leg 1. The 6, Brian's horse, I like that horse a ton as well. And if you believe the time for him, that last out figure was absolutely huge. It was pretty big on Brisnet too, actually. And then I kind of gave a look to the 5. I think the only horse maybe we didn't talk about that much. That's the other big class dropper. Flashed a little bit of speed in his first 2 starts and kind of backed up. He did take money in both of those starts, so I think that clearly bettors kind of went to this horse for some reason or another. Maybe first off the gelding on the drop, he wakes up, but I don't really love the 5. I don't love anybody. The 5 would be my 4th include, and probably the last one I would use here. So I'd have it 1, 6, 3, 5 probably.
Pretty interesting. This field for 2-year-olds has a couple of geldings already. Usually they at least wait till they fail as a 3-year-old. Sorry, Josh.
No, you're good. I think we basically covered everything here. I'm pretty much in agreement with Caleb here on the 1. I think you got the speed, you got the drop. There's nothing really not to like about the 1 here. I'm probably going to play against this 3. Mark brings up a really good point, though. This is the first race this is the first leg. So you're going to see the money. You're going to see the double payouts. You're going to see doubles out of it. You're going to see more information on the tote board on what you got here. So I could be maybe convinced to use this 3, but I think I could see this 3. If this 3 starts taking a ton of money, I'm just really not. I don't know. I really just not a big fan of this 3 in this spot. I know it's a gun runner. and people have been betting Gun Runners off the board, and Gun Runner has hurt me many times already this year. But there's nothing here that tells me that this 3-horse is much better than the rest of the field. Now, obviously, once again, let's see what the tote board says. I have him written down as a toss because I think that this race is kind of wide open. So I don't want to be using the 9 to 5, and 5 or 6 other horses. I'm very interested in the 6-horse. So I might just be 1-6 here. Caleb, you already talked about the 5 a little bit. Breeding wise, once again, Gun Runner here. Third time out. Jimmy Jerkins is not really great with maiden horses here, so I don't know. We have to see a big improvement here on this 5. I was a little bit interested in the 7 and the 8, and that was mostly if it does come up a little bit wet. The 7 and the 8 both seem to have some really nice, mud pedigree. I don't know what the weather's like. This was just kind of, like I said, my first pass. Just kind of looking at it like, hey, like, if I'm going to go even deeper, maybe the 7 and the 8, if it comes up kind of wet, I'd be interested in using. But I'm going to be mostly 1-6. I might toss in a little bit of the 5. And I think that I'm just going to let the chips fall where they may there, and kind of toss this 3 here.
They're not calling for anything. Yeah, they're not calling for anything overnight. We're supposed to get rain up here, but they're not supposed to get it in the city. So, yeah.
Okay. So we go ahead and take a look at chat. Jay likes the 2 and the 6 here. So he's a fan of the 2 Clash AJ, which we really didn't talk about here. Ran that nice big fig, ran a nice race first time out, and has kind of just not come back to that. Is dropping from maiden to claiming, so might be one to take a look at. And he likes the 6, which is a good skate, which is the other horse that I kind of liked here. Brian Duransky saying 6 is going to be chalk. And
yeah, I tend to agree with Brian here. I think the 6 probably takes money and ends up being either favorite or co-favorite. I think the line might be a little bad on this race.
Caleb,
what's the question?
Eric going on, just let him know that Mark was not a fan of the line on this race.
I'll make the call.
Okay.
I used to love that segment. You make the call.
What was that for?
What was that? At baseball games?
Baseball?
I thought it was baseball games, I think. I don't remember exactly.
There's The Guardian, which is like a British website, like news website, and it might have been paper, might be paper too, I'm not sure. But they had a soccer version of that, and it was just always like the most ridiculous situations, and like it always ends up with everyone yelling at the ref and trying to make some like ridiculous decision. Those are always fun. Oh, Ryan saying new year, new Brian. You did shave a little bit here.
I did. Since it is the December 30th, I should probably talk about what I used to shave, Josh.
Oh yeah, what did you use to shave?
I used the Manscaped lawnmower 2.0 for the finest shave a man can get, both above and below the border. I'll see you later, Ryan.
Let's move on here to race 4. We're going to go 6.5 furlongs for fillies and mares 3-year-old and up. Looks like your morning line favorite is going to be the 7 here, Infringement, at 5-2. Mark Hennig, Jose Lascano. I wasn't really interested in this horse because I think that this horse is, hasn't exactly sprinted all that well. I mean, did a little bit in the beginning of his career, but then they tried him long on the turf or her long on the turf, and then they're coming back to sprint. I don't know if they know what they're doing with this horse. I was more interested in the 6, Mazal 18 inside for Joseph Lee and Dylan Davis here. That race last out, I think is the best figure in this field. So horse is going to be forwardly placed, which has been where you want to be at Aqueduct this meet so far. I don't see that changing really tomorrow at all. So, pretty interested in the 6 here. Seems to be rounding back into form after actually coming probably onto the surface that they want to put this horse on, which is dirt. That number of turf tries there. And then the other horse I like is a horse. I think Ryan Howard was looking for one of these. 3 cherry horse here. Our working girl with our boy Heeman Harkey aboard for Merkton Cantamarcy. I think I'm axed that completely. I think I pronounced that about as good as Mark pronounces names.
I think you have to have a hand motion when you do it. Cantamarcy.
But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be the pace in this race, and there doesn't seem to be too much pace in here. I mean, maybe the 5 goes a little bit, but the 5 hasn't really shown too much speed as of late. I mean, Infringement did show a little bit of speed on the turf, but on the dirt wasn't really gunning for the lead. So I think the inside speed here on this one is gonna be good. So I'm gonna just go 2 wide here. I'm gonna use the 1, and I'm gonna use the 6. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I like both your 1 and the 6 the most for myself as well. And one thing to note, we see here Herman Harkey getting up, and obviously he's not a high percentage jockey, but I'll let Brian say Mercatan's last name. But those 2 actually have got a few wins at some fairly nice prices. It seems to be I don't want to say go-to jock, but a jock that Mercatan does fairly well with. So, I always hate when you see like a real low percentage jock getting up for a horse that you like, and you're like, why didn't you go get like somebody who's decent? But it seems like they did have some chemistry in history, going back. One thing on Infringement that I do think is a little interesting, the 7 horse that Josh mentioned. I don't love the horse, but this is a horse that hasn't been on dirt in about a year, since December of 2020. So it is a horse that, yeah, they clearly have had some layoff lines. Obviously, the intent wasn't to be off that much, but they're getting back to the surface that this horse has its 1 win over. So I thought Infringement made a little sense in here as well. And the other horse I kind of liked a little was the 9. I don't know, another one I'll script the name of, but Violentium. But the violence horse that's in here, getting quite a bit of class relief. I realize it's Finger Lakes to Aqueduct class relief, but it's a horse that actually ran fairly well and has a win across the surface. Horse's only win is actually across the surface, so maybe it's a horse that just likes the duct. If you go back to that maiden climbing 40 that the horse broke its maiden on, it actually fits pretty well in here. If that horse runs back to that fig, is probably one of the faster, if not fastest horses in the race. So maybe this is just one of those horses that really likes the duct and will be moved up by coming back to home.
Yeah, once again, nothing really to add. The 3 horses I have written down are the 1, 6, and 9. I'm with you, Josh. I don't like this 7 really. He was not a very good dirt horse. Or she rather, she got faster on the turf. Is that because she's just a more mature 3-year-old, or did she just like the surface better? I don't know, but Mark Hennig's not a guy that ships a ton, so it's probably no surprise to see this horse is running on dirt here. So I just didn't really like the horse. I don't know if the horse ultimately goes off as your favorite, but that's not a horse I'm going to use. And yeah, I like the 1, 6, and the 9 here. The horses we already talked about. I think the 1 probably is your speed of the speed. The 6 is probably the most consistent runner in the field. And then I thought the 9 for the old school duck races that Mark brought up. Those old duck races are pretty good here. The 2 from last winter, and then even the Laurel race and Finger Lakes races weren't too bad. So I kind of like the 1, 6, and 9 here for a lot of the same reasons as Mark and Brian.
I didn't talk yet.
Yeah,
I meant Mark and Josh.
Wow.
I mean, you 2 do look a lot alike, so.
What you got, Brian?
I was trying to think of a joke about Mark. I agree with everything that everybody said except Caleb. Caleb's wrong, even though he agrees with you, Josh. I think if you guys were to look at everybody's favorite figures that look good after a race, the one is rounding into probably a possible career top or getting close to it in this field. It's a 2-horse race, the 1 and the 6. What I had wrote down this afternoon was single to 1 here. I think they'll be. This is the kind of horse I think I can take a stand with, and with the high percentage Heman at 3%, why not? So I agree with you guys. I just think on thoroughgraphs the horse looks interesting, very, very interesting enough to single.
By the way, he is 17% when he's up for Mercatan.
He's 20%. He's 1 for 5 in 2021 for Mercatan.
I think Mark's probably going back in 2 years or something like that.
It might be a little farther back.
So 1 for 5. That's the sample size you're going. So one of his 3 wins is with Mercatan. Cantamachi.
Jay here says he likes a 6 as an A and the 1 and 9 as B's in the 4th. So he's basically seeing it the same way Caleb is kind of seeing it.
Can you mute Stephen Fox? His opinions are garbage.
Oh, yeah, Steven's saying everyone screws his dead rail tomorrow. Let's get out of here. Road Warrior likes a 9 a bit here and a couple good works. Stalker clear trip unless the gold rail happens with the track drying out. There we go. Gold rail. That's what we're talking about. Not dead rail. Get out of here, Stephen Fox. Yeah, Jay saying, wow, everyone likes the same horses in the same race. Yeah, this cannot be good.
Just on my bit. Chalk.
Yeah. So what happened with your Russells?
I mixed it in my empty glass from the Evan that had some old-fashioned juice still in there, and it does not mix well with the old-fashioned juice. I have a whole collision of tastes going on in my mouth when I take a sip.
Sorry, I was distracted by a picture or a message that Clamps just sent.
Hey Brian, I'll throw you one more thing. I actually just looked up the one Mercatan and Harkey win, and that was a Sen job as well. It was a horse he wired the field with.
That's
from
the
rail.
That's why I said I think this is the kind of horse you could single and feel good about because later I think you want to be spread.
Yeah, I actually like that play a lot. I really do.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Mark the
Race
time.
5.
9 p.m. 12:30.
Race 5, going a mile and 1/8 here, claiming 25,000. We're gonna go to the smartest person on the stream to start this one off.
You bringing Murphy in?
Caleb, what do you like here in race 5? Since you have race 5.
Well, this isn't really a super fun race to talk about, unfortunately, because I sort of think that the favorite looks pretty tough to beat here. The 3 blew it. I kind of agree with what Mark mentioned earlier as far as the first 2 races look like there was some chaos. To me, like the next 3 to 4 do look pretty formful. I probably won't Stone Cold single blew it here just because he's not a consistent sort. He definitely runs some stinkers. I mean, Pletcher really couldn't get this horse to live up to his expectations. And then he did kind of run off the page last time, so there is some reason to be concerned the 7-year-old horse may go backwards instead of go forwards in this next start, especially on the huge hike up in class. So I think Blewett is the horse to beat here, but I thought there was a couple other alternatives that you could use that looked kind of interesting. Probably the alternative I thought was most interesting would have been this 8-horse, Regal Quality. So a lot of these horses are kind of getting bumped up in class. I'm not too worried about it because of that. Regal Quality doesn't really win a whole bunch, but he does get very busy and a lot of action at the claim box. This is a horse that I think, and if you just look at the pedigree, should really enjoy the mile and 1/8 distance, more so than a few others. And he has been kind of inching forward in each of his last few starts. Rudy's obviously excellent first off the claim. No easy feat to claim off of Rob Atras, though. So I thought this horse looks interesting and might kind of get that outside stalking trip. Otherwise, I thought the 2 looked interesting as well, coming out of that common race back on October 21st. They kind of ran very similar. Direct Order got the best of him in the second time, but Regal Quality did beat him when they faced off that time. So I thought they both looked probably like the biggest threats to the chalk. I don't really have anything super creative here. I think Blewett's your most likely winner, but he's not a horse that I particularly trust. So I would use the 2 and the 8 a little bit as well. I have no interest in the 4 at all. So if that horse takes money, I hope he does because he won't make my ticket.
Brian, what do you think? Oh, excuse me.
I think I'm going to single the 4 now.
You
know,
who?
The 4. I think Blewett is coming off of a, here we go, career top number. And if there's ever going to be a reaction to a big last out, sure, the horse has had 6 weeks off, but in Rob's barn, you never know what exactly is happening. That last race just sticks out way too far for me on Blewett. So with that being said, I'm going to look for a few spots to try and beat Blewett here. And if I get beat by a chalk, I get beat by a chalk. And before Steve says anything, this was the race I said the 5-1 horse, but then we go with the chalk. So I'll stay with Dark Storm, the 4. I also like a little bit of the 7 Microscope. Only from the fact that the horse has been pretty consistent. Other than the last out race, horse ran 2 and 3 back. Very competitive figures in this field, according to the product in front of me. So I'd be 4, 7, and then probably a little bit of the 2 and the 5. But that's the whole field. So,
Mark.
Yeah, I think, when I look at this sequence, I can't really beat up Blewett too much. But if you were to make me look at this entire sequence and say, okay, pick one favorite that you're going to toss, Blewett's the favorite I would be most likely to toss, even though I feel like I have to use him. And I really hate that feeling. Blewett's up massively in class here, off a career top as a 7-year-old. All the alarm bells go off. He's a screaming bounce candidate. He's the kind of horse that I don't think he's going to have it all his own way like he did when he absolutely freaked in that last out race and won by 13 or something. So I think Blewett can definitely win this. If he runs back to that last race, he's going to be mighty tough in this field, but there's just a lot of question marks with him, and he's not the kind of 8-5 that I would want to single. I very much agree with Caleb here. I think direct order is really interesting. Barker Barn is 30% off the claim. You're getting T-Mac, who's been riding really well since he came back to New York. And I think that's a really interesting, horse. I think that's the other horse that I want the most of my money going through. And I think I'll probably use the 2 and the 3 equally, although I'm going to feel a little dirty doing so.
Jay says he's going to single the 2 here.
I don't hate that at all.
And Steven says, does class matter with Blewett? He blows it when stepping up in class. And yeah, he's making a pretty big jump. He's going up like what, three or 4 classes here, going from a claiming 10,000 to claiming 25.
I don't know if they run 15s, but yeah, it's 3 or so classes up, and yeah, and there's a massive difference in just the quality of animals between a claiming 10 and a claiming 25. That's just a absolute chasm. So.
I kind of thought that Blewett was going to be hard to beat here, and he might be one of my keys through this entire sequence. I might be convinced to use a couple more horses in this spot, only because I believe in the next race I do have an absolute 100% Stone Cold single. Yeah, hey.
Do it, Josh. Do it.
I'm serious, man. The name didn't even take any part into it, but yeah, it's gonna be hard to kind of get around Blewett here. I think if you look, one of my problems with this race was if you look past Blewett, I kind of feel like there are 3 or 4 other horses that are pretty close. Your 2 horse that you mentioned. The 4, even who was the other one? The 7 and the 8.
There you go.
Looked a little interesting, and this is kind of like, if I go past that horse, then I'm including basically the entire field. So, but Blewett does look to be a. He's gonna be on the lead. He's gonna be the pace factor here. I don't know. I have a hard time looking past it.
I was gonna say one other thing on Blewett as well. In this sequence, he's probably your most likely or your most highly singled horse in this sequence. So from a game theory standpoint, if you can get around Blewett, that provides you the most upside just because people are going to single him off that gigantic last fig, and he's being, on paper controlling speed. So if you can get around him, this is one of those races. Again, from a pure games theory standpoint, you buy the race and toss Blewett. But I think you can. Again, if you can get around him here, you get paid.
Did you guys see the pissing contest yesterday between Sherman and Fat Ball Guy Racing? One of the things that they talked about was sometimes you don't play like a tout sells their picks. You use it to go against it, right? That's what one of the things Sherman said. And to back up what Mark's saying is Blewett's going to be on a lot of sheets, and a lot of public money is going to be there. So that's why I say I'm going to toss the horse. If I lose, I lose. You guys still remember when I lost it by tossing newspaper record. So, I mean, that's the kind of stance I take. But it'll be interesting. It could be a very good race.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of times, to Brian's point, it's really good if you can get your hands on a tout sheet from any of the major touts just to see what are they pushing, because it's very interesting. You can figure out where the public money is going to go that way. And if you want to play a little contrarian, it's a great way to kind of, figure those approaches out.
So we didn't really talk about this horse, but what about this 6 shipping in from Parks? Caleb, you're the king of Parks. Title service coming in with Mooch aboard. Mooch has ridden this horse 3 times.
So I do have this horse marked down as like a question mark. So this was probably my 4th horse that I'm on the fence about whether or not to use. I don't really love the company he's been keeping, but I also think that those optional 35s, 25s at Parks are probably about the same as a low-level claiming at NYRA. So I don't think this is really a huge step up or any class relief for that matter. I think it's probably a lateral move. He doesn't seem quite as fast as some of the other ones. He may be a little more consistent maybe, but he doesn't really have that one race that you can look at and be like, well, if he runs back to this race, he should be able to compete or win today. He just doesn't really seem to have run that fig yet or run that race yet. I do think he looks like he probably trips out, which is the one thing that maybe is in his favor, is that if Blewett does bounce off that huge effort, it really does sort of seem like the 6 gets that first run or gets that pocket trip sitting in second place just right off his hip. So from a trip perspective, I could definitely see the argument. That's a horse that to me would be like a C if I was playing an ABC ticket for me.
Yeah, when I initially capped that, I had that 6 a lot more highly regarded than I did when I kind of ended up. And the thing with me was, if you look at that horse's attempts going this distance, they are not nearly as good as going a little shorter. I just don't really think he wants the distance. I don't know if he has the punch to get home after going that far. And the other thing is, if you look at his races that are at tracks, I think that we respect the figs a little more on. So you sort of toss the Pimlico, you toss the Parks races, you toss the Colonial races. All of a sudden, the figures don't look nearly as good. So, a couple other things against the 6. Although that was a horse that in first pass I was like, "Ooh, that's a really interesting horse." So,
what tracks does he have left if you tossed those 3?
Belmont and.
But how long ago is that?
Okay, I am going back a little bit, but
because I'm only at Briz right now and I can't even see it.
When did I have to go back to? Hold on here. Once
Man, you're way back.
July 12th at Saratoga.
Oh, she's got
2020.
That's super bad class then.
Yeah, but that was a really good performance.
I think his races from Parks at the end of last year are competitive in this field. I think maybe that race 3 back is at least in the realm.
But how many times have we talked about the figures from Parks being inflated to the point where we don't believe them?
As soon as that sentence left my mouth, I felt dumber. But
that was exactly my point.
The time form's got that as a 103. That's probably more like a time form 92. Gonna have to go back and watch the replay with my hand timer.
Josh, please tell me you're betting your boy Corrales here at 5-1.
I wasn't going to, but I am now.
Okay.
I actually like this 7 a lot at Turfway. I played the 7 and the 10 both in a double.
Yeah, but 4 or 5.
Into Kraus in the last race on the 8 horse.
Yeah, into that Kraus horse in the last race. Yeah.
And I have a tiny double using the 5 and 6 in the last race as well. But for the most part, I got 7 and 8 are my biggest double.
I did
John,
like
I
this. I did like this Corrales horse, and I need him to at least hit the board so I don't get blanked in this tournament I'm in today. So, um, yeah, let's move on here. Um, race 6. I'm singling the one. I mean,
which horse is that, Josh? I don't have it pulled up.
It's a Mexican Wonder Boy, owned by Linda Rice, trained by Linda Rice. First off the claim. So Linda first off the claim after winning the race last time out. This horse is going to get out on the engine and be on the lead. And I don't think there's anybody else in this race that can run with this one. So we're going to go with the one here. This is my Stone Cold single. I'm going to have all kinds of stuff into and out of this horse, and I will have a win bet at anywhere near like 3-1 on this horse. So, yeah, Mark, what do you think?
I very much like your one in here, Mexican Wonder Boy, as well. I thought the other two that sort of made some sense in here were both the 5 and the 6. Prioritize, who is getting some class relief here, and I also thought the Pletcher horse, untreated, was interesting here, but I also think this is kind of a bad favorite. Obviously, we have the bad favorite expert in here, Caleb, who can pipe up and speak to that. But I thought this was a bad favorite. I'm trying to understand why this horse, who comes out of the bluegrass, comes back in an allowance at Aqueduct, wins fairly easily, puts up a big figure, and then Todd decides to keep this one in New York. From it's a Kentucky bred, so it's not like he's up here for New York for New York bred stakes or that kind of stuff. Why isn't this horse being shipped down to Florida and he's trying to find pricier races down there, but he's inherently given the horse class relief and running in an optional 62.5. I have a feeling that last out figure is pretty inflated. I know Timeform had it pretty high, and BSF had it pretty high as well. So I think this is probably a bad favorite, but it's a horse that definitely can win if runs back to that last out race.
Mark, Ryan asked a very important question. Do you check your Twitter DM?
I do. Did he DM me? I don't know.
Is he sliding into your DMs?
He's sliding into your DMs.
Is he sliding in?
Slip this slide.
I do, but I don't have anything from Ryan. So,
Brian, what you got?
Hold on, man. I'm looking at Turfway.
Caleb, what you got?
Yeah, so I probably disagree with Mark. I think the 6 is a good favorite. Is it a horse I'm going to build my day around? Probably not, but I certainly think he should be the favorite in this race, and that he is your most likely winner. If in theory, he's supposed to at least improve off that last effort, second off the layoff, and that last effort's already good enough to win. I think he gets the right trip, sitting just off of the 1, who probably is your controlling speed. I do like your 1, Josh. I just am afraid to bet anything out of Linda's barn right now. As of when I pulled this form up earlier today, she was 2 for 46, which is just incredible for her to be that cold. I mean, she rarely runs that cold. So, given this horse is first out of the claim, go into a cold barn and way up in class, that kind of scared me off both the 1 and the 2, because otherwise I did like both of those horses a little bit. But to me, I think the 6 is probably going to be a single A for me, and then I'll have a little bit of money going through maybe the 1 and the 2.
Linda is 0 for 17 at this duck meet, if you want a little bit more recency stout.
Yeah, I think Bayer separates winter duct from.
They do, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It separates turf duct from regular duct.
Right. So for duct on the whole, she's 2 for 46. So she's been.
She's due.
Yeah.
Brian, what you got?
I didn't hear you guys talk about. Did any of you guys talk about the 7?
No.
Cool. I like the 7. He runs fast. He'd be gooder. No. Where it is, 235. I think 235. I like Franco getting the mount here. I really like the Mahong Valley shipper angle. I think it's important. As I learned last year, it doesn't matter where they come from, whether it's Ohio or West Virginia. When they come up to a top tier track, they usually fire off, right, Mark? So that's one of the things I happen to like. I do think the 4 is a little interesting. And I had all kinds of notes, and then Turfway screwed me up. I'm sorry. The 7, I think, is just one of those interesting horses who's going to sit off the pace, and I don't think it's going to be a speed duel per se. I do kind of agree, Josh. The 1 may go, but if not, if for something happens with the 1, you have the 3, 4, and the 8 are all going to be right there. So I'm looking, trying to think outside the box of saying, okay, maybe the 7 can fire. So I'm probably going to go through the 4, the 6, and the 7 here. And then if anybody scratches out, I'll probably add the 1, just depending on what happens to the pace picture from there.
I can't.
As we're all intently watching Turfway.
I can't believe Caleb, you think the 6 is a good favorite. This isn't a fake fake
I mean,
I like
like I
Jay's
said,
comment.
it's not a horse I want to bet in the in the Cigar Mile, or something like that. But it's an optional 62 non-winners of 2. Where I mean, who am I supposed to be afraid of? The horse that just won a claiming $32,000 race, Mexican Wonder Boy. I mean, the 6 horse are going to build a wall and make the 1 horse pay for it.
Oh my God!
And let's get this 7 home at Turfway, and I'll be fine. Just keep him straight. Oh, come on, 7. He's going to hang, isn't he? Oh, my God, he keeps lugging in.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's
what a hang job.
God, fuck.
Damn it. Damn it. So I was on the 4. I was on the 4 there. I think the 4 got up, but for a second. But damn it.
Yeah, Jay, that was exactly my take, is that why is this horse here when it should be in a G3 off that last race? Why is this horse not down with his A contingent, which is down at Gulfstream as well? So there were a lot of red flags about this one.
I mean, I think he's just being realistic. Like, they threw him in the bluegrass, and we saw how that went. I mean, the horse broke his maiden at Tampa, which is not a good track. He got stomped in Chad Brown's barn at Gulfstream. So, he came back and beat a pretty weak allowance field last out off a long way off. He didn't really take any money that day. I mean, 4-1 for a Fletcher horse is really not taking money. So, I think that's just being realistic. If he goes to Gulfstream, he probably gets stomped. But in a soft field like this, I think he's a good favorite.
Did you guys talk about the 5?
Mark did a little bit. I mean, I like him, but I don't think the pace sets up for him.
And he doesn't win very often.
That's why you like him.
Oh man, that's a rough hang job there, Caleb.
Oh, and you're right. I mean, I can't tell if the 7 was coming out or the 6 was coming out or the 7. I think it was my 7 just kept lugging in and kid couldn't keep him straight.
Oh, Stephen Fox saying excuse me, King Guillermo came from Tampa.
I think you can get King Guillermo at Belterra for $10,000 in April.
No, if that was the case, then Mark would be heading over getting his owner's license.
That is true. I would be. He'd be living in my backyard.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the feature here. The mile and 1/8 Alex M. Robb Stakes. 100K for 3-year-olds and up, foaled in New York. And we got an interesting field here. Headlined by the 5-2 favorite, number 4 Seafoam, who's one of my favorite horses to bet in these New York bred races, because you got the E and you got the 8. And he's been pretty good for me betting Seafoam here, but I'm going to be against Seafoam in this spot, and this is going to be another spread spot for me here, and I'm going to have 3 horses here. I have 3 horses marked down as A's. Danny California is kind of a question mark for me. I'm not sure. I don't know what the heck to expect from this horse. I mean, this horse fires his best race. I mean, he wins, but this is a really inconsistent horse. But I'm gonna take a shot with a couple of closers or off the pace types. I'm gonna use a little bit of Brooklyn Strong here, the 3, coming on off the layoff from the Pegasus at Monmouth. This is more of just like a run style pace play. I think that there's quite a bit of pace here. I think that if the track's playing fair, there's going to be enough pace for horses like Brooklyn Strong to make a move on. And so I'll take a shot here with the 3 Brooklyn Strong. maybe is just needs an off track, but ran his best fig here at the Remsen, so figure take a shot here with Brooklyn Strong. Also going to be using the 6 Wild Banker. Also another horse with 4 wins here at Aqueduct. Going to be coming from off the pace. Um, and I know it's Chad Summers, which is why Mark was scratching his head. But probably my top pick is going to be the 9 Tiergan for Rudy Rodriguez with Raul Banya aboard. I think that fig last out wins this race here, especially because I think that the short price horse Seafoam is going to be pace compromised in this spot. So I think it's going to set up for a horse kind of making its first run here. So I like the 9 the best. I'm going to use a little Brooklyn Strong. I'm going to use a little bit of Wild Banker. Mark, I need to know why you look like you're in so much pain when I'm talking about these off the pace horses.
Apparently, you've never watched Winter Duct, have you?
I mean, I have.
I just think Seafoam's the one to beat here, and I'm absolutely shocked that you're not. The world's biggest Seafoam fan is gonna fade Seafoam. I mean, I see a big E, I see an 8. That is a 3 cherry. That's a 4 cherry horse. It's got Kendrick up on it. So I mean, it's a 4 cherry horse, and you're gonna fade it. I'm just a little concerned. Are you feeling okay, Josh?
He's watching his blood
I've been
sugar.
playing a lot of League of Legends lately, so I've been on life tilt.
Okay.
And I had that eye doctor appointment. So.
And he also happens to have a trainer who's 60% right now. No, I mean, I think Seafoam's your likeliest winner here.
What trainer 60%?
Michelle Guerra. I don't know how we say it. D'Angelo.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. No, I think Seafoam's just your likeliest winner here. I think he, is run really well at the Duct. Obviously, Barnes firing really well. And I think he's, honestly getting some class relief off the last 2. So it should be, a very interesting player in here. My main concern with Seafoam is, does Chowda press? Because arguably Chowda might need the lead. And if the 2 of them get a little stupid on the front end, it could come apart, which is probably what Josh is talking from a pace compromised sort of status here. And, I do think Brooklyn Strong is interesting, although if I was win betting it, I would probably never touch him because I would need a lot more than you're going to get because people are going to know the name and end up, betting him. But I do agree that Tiergan the 9, it does make some sense in this spot. Although the horse is 1 for 10 at Aqueduct and not really a win machine lifetime. But if it does come apart a little bit, that's the horse that should kind of inherit that really nice trip. So most of my money will be through Seafoam and a little Brooklyn Strong and a little bit of Tiergan.
Brian.
I'm glad neither one of you guys talked about the horse that I like the most. Here's why I'll say I don't like Seafoam. Mark likes Seafoam. For Josh to throw out the red flag here and not take Seafoam, that's a red flag to me. Josh knows these E8 horses. And who am I to question Josh? So with that being said, I like the other Michelle on the 5. Michelle Nevin trained Our Last Buck. I think Our Last Buck, 2 back at Belmont on the muddy surface, didn't really take to it. Sure, Carmouche maybe had choice. I don't care about that because if you look at what Nevin and Franco do together, 89 pairings this year so far, 13% win. This horse last out did the middle move. And I fully expect for Manny to be in a good spot here. Seafoam could be on the lead, but I think Manny's going to have Our Last Buck in a great spot to win. And then, where'd it go? The reason I didn't like the 2, rather than saying why I do like somebody, because I feel pretty strongly about Our Last Buck. I'd probably use Seafoam defensively. But I thought Danny California, to counter Josh saying he likes him, Danny California seems to have run his best in August and September, and it's tailed off the last 2 years in the fall. And so I don't expect a career top or anything close to what Danny California has done previously until maybe next year if the horse returns. So that's kind of my thought process there. Rather than trying to say I like this horse, here's why I don't like Danny California, and that's just that's kind of where I landed. There's a lot of options here, but when I start going through on thoroughgraphs, it's not as close as it seems. I think Tiergan's got a shot, and I think the 7's got the shot, and that's where I'm going to land. I mean 5. Damn.
So I'm probably, I don't know, similar to Josh, I guess, in that I do like the 6 and the 9. My top pick's probably the 6 here, actually. I don't know what happened in that last race. I mean, maybe 7 furlongs is just too short. This horse has been pretty much exclusively a router for his career. But he has a lot of good races at Aqueduct earlier this year, and that was in the Chad Summers barn. So, I mean, I think this horse makes a lot of sense here. He actually beat Seafoam 2 back, and he beat Tiergan about 6 back. So, I know he has the ability when he puts it together. So I like the 6 the best. I really don't know what to do with Seafoam. He's kind of a horse that he's capable of really good races when he gets out there by himself on the lead. But I just don't know if that's going to happen because I am afraid of Chowda pressing or even maybe Captain Bombastic pressing on the stretch out here. So I'm not really sure what to do with Seafoam because anytime that horse gets any kind of pace pressure, he folds up pretty bad. So I'm probably leaning towards getting rid of Seafoam given the other chalk that I will be using. This is probably one that I think is pretty vulnerable here. So I do like the 6, as already mentioned. I also like Josh's 9, Tiergan. I think Tiergan's formed a little dressed up because I think a couple of those wins, he was entered as an MTO and those off the turf races. One of them was a 3-horse field. He won by a head. I mean, so those races probably aren't as good as they look on paper. When he did race against a couple of today's foes, he got beat by 30 lengths, 2 back. So I don't love Tiergan, but he did kind of prove that he has some ability with a pretty good 3rd place last out, and that was against Open Company. So I do think Tiergan probably needs used. I think the fact that Raul Mena stays on board means you'll get a better price than you otherwise would, considering that's not really a household name. So I like the 6 and the 9, and then kind of as we talked about, the 2 might be the other horse that I might give a look to. Danny California definitely is a distant 3rd pick for me. I may just go 6 and 9 here, but Danny California would be the one other one I might try to include.
Take a look at chat here. Road Warriors saying nice field of New York breds. He'd key around the 3, the 4, and the 5. Jay also liking the 3 and the 5 with the 6 as a B here. And Ryan actually mentioned he's actually really surprised that Jose stayed at Winter Duct. He's basically the only one who stayed. Everyone else went off to Velasquez went off to Santa Anita, and then everyone else went off to their Florida vacation per usual. So Rosario's still on the IR, so he'll be back sometime, I think, in a couple weeks. But yeah, I was a little surprised too. And Ryan, of course, I think he's a devout follower of Mr. Papo. He says, "Have you noticed the Woodbine contingent that shipped down to Gulfstream?" Caleb, what is your thinking on the Gulfstream Park contingent currently?
I couldn't tell you. I don't even know who's down there.
Wait a minute. Hey, Ryan, did Norm McKnight send his barn to Gulfstream instead of Oaklawn? I haven't been paying attention to Gulfstream, but that would be interesting if he did.
There's a lot of Woodbine regular horses are down there for the synth now.
Well, 2 years ago, McKnight sent his horses to Oaklawn, and then last year he kicked ass 2 years ago. Last year, McKnight had not a great meet, so that'd be interesting.
Papa Knight actually was telling me that he's noticed a lot of Woodbine shippers have been winning. I don't know where, he didn't specify. I don't know if it was probably New York or Turfway, because that's mostly where he plays lately. But said, yeah, he's been seeing a lot of Woodbine shippers doing well, so that might be something to keep an eye on. I can't personally confirm it, but Dad likes him. He hates Woodbine, so that must mean something.
Yeah, he hates Woodbine, and he's not. I don't think he's not a Gulfstream guy either.
He's not a Gulfstream guy. No, so it had to be
like,
either New York or Turfway.
Mountaineer.
He's not like our boy Little Vince who just can't.
Not
can't
like Little
quit
Vince at all.
Gulfstream. Oh man. All right, we're gonna close this out. Race 8,
Thanks, Ryan.
going a mile. And Brian, let's start with you. What you liking here in race 8?
Race 8. There's one horse I like. I'll use 2 horses. I'm going to put that out of the way first because I'm going to use 2 horses. The first one I'm going to go with here is probably a horse that I see on your page you have as an A horse also, and the Bill Mott entry on the 10, Curlin's Wisdom. I think Curlin's Wisdom in two brief races has looked pretty good. The time form numbers come back very, very well. No reason to think the horse isn't going to be ready tomorrow. My question is, Alvarado to Jose. We were just talking about Jose in the chat. I'm not sure how I feel about that move right now. Jose's the best jockey that stayed in New York, yes. But Junior had gotten this horse into a good form, and now Jose's back on the mount. So, I seem to when I back Jose, I seem to get screwed by him, and when I fade him, I get screwed by him. So I'm not sure if I'm going to let it sway my opinion. When I was first coming up, I was always told that 115-pound jockey is not going to tell a 1,000-pound horse to run. The 1,000-pound horse is going to do what he wants to do. So I'm not going to try and overthink it, but that's just a glaring thing that I saw that was sticking out to me. And then obviously it goes from turf to dirt, so you're not sure how the horse is going to do there. But let's be honest, it's a Curlin and it's Bill Mott, so the horse should be fine. The other one I thought was interesting was the 4 for Mark Hennig, Excursioniste, something like that. I feel like Mark now. And it's a little blue.
I think.
You can't not be on Twitter and not see the little Bluebird stable people. Mark Hennig and Dylan Davis. Looking back, 2 back, the horse's figure wasn't horrible on dirt. It was kind of a slow pace. He was wide in that race. This field is not exciting to me. I should probably make an argument for somebody like the 3 at a big price, but I'm just going to go with the 4 and the 10 here because they've shown they can run on the dirt and can have a little bit of a decent figure. I have a feeling I know 2 of the horses that either Mark or Caleb will be on, but we'll see if they get there.
Mark?
Yeah.
Me how much money you're going to have going through this 5?
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah. No, I mean the horse really didn't run a step first out. Tom Morley isn't great, maiden second timers, and I really just think this is another one of those bad my racehorse purchases. It tends to be my vibe on that. On the 5, I didn't really see an excuse on the first out start. So as much as I do love Tom Morley, I think this is a fake Tom Morley. The horse, though, I know we already talked about Curlin's Wisdom, the 10. The other horse that I was a little bit interested in is this 7 Juggler. A horse that, I realize we're going up in class here, but, Juan Vasquez has been absolutely lighting things up at the, at AQU winter meet. And, this is a horse that, if Curlin's Wisdom, has a bad trip or whatever else, Juggler should be right there, stalking and be able to kind of take over. So,
holy crap! Brian just threw the challenge flag. The horse was claimed away from your favorite trainer.
I know. What
are you doing? What is the first out Breen statistic? It's got to be like 8%.
Breen's first out statistic, I don't know, but I know that Vasquez is 20% first off the claim with a positive ROI. So,
because I said because earlier you said you'll blindly bet back Breen's horses because you're afraid to lose to them, and now this one comes out of the Breen barn, and you're going to go there. That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's another high percentage barn, so I'm okay betting. I mean, if this was going into Amira's barn or something, yeah, then you don't use the horse at all. But it just with how hot Vasquez's barn is right now, I think I'm okay using it, and then especially in a field where if the 10 runs back to that first dirt race, yeah, the horse should win easily. But if it doesn't, I think the one that I wanted to pick up the pieces was the 7.
Yeah, I think you guys covered most of the logical horses here. The 10 and the 7 kind of feel like the only two leaders in this spot. I think they both make sense. My biggest knock about the 10 is really just the fact that he's going to be the horse that every single ticket defaults to here. And it just feels like Bill Mott never does good at Winter Ducks. I mean, I don't have stats to back that up, but it just feels like he's a guy that truly goes all in on Gulfstream winners. And the horses that get left behind are usually pretty bad. I don't know what they were doing trying him on turf last time. He's clearly bred to be a dirt router. So he should improve off that race and maybe be the controlling speed here. But something about him just kind of bothers me. I do like the 7, I think. Like Mark said, Vasquez's barn has just been crazy hot. He had at least one winner today that I saw. I don't know if he had any more. But the other horses I kind of took a look at here were actually the 3 and the 6. I guess starting with the 6, I think this horse has a trouble getting out of the gate. But these Laban horses, typically New York breds, they don't usually win a ton first out, and they're not really as good going short as they are when they go long. So I'm kind of going for a pedigree play for both the 3 and the 6 here, as I think that both of them are going to really appreciate the stretch out to a route. Like I said, I think this horse, boss making boss moves, has been making boss moves, just making them too late and running out of real estate. So he's had a couple spots of trouble when he clipped heels 2 back, and then in his debut race, he just was coming on a little bit too late. But I think the stretch out here makes a ton of sense for the 6. And I think the same logic really applies to the 3. The 3 is a bit more of a reach, I think, because the connections maybe aren't, quite as strong, perhaps, and the horse hasn't shown much ability. But he's another horse that I think had some trouble in that debut where he blew the brake and he stumbled. And then next time out, he was, marooned out in the 11 post, going a distance that I think is just too short for him. So I really think on the stretch out here and then adding blinkers, he can hopefully get in the race a little bit earlier. And then having the extra distance to really hit his stride late. I think he's a horse that I wouldn't overlook at a big price.
Yeah, so fun formulator fact, Bill Mott past 5 years at Winter Duct is 18%.
That's not bad.
No, it's not too
It's
bad.
actually damn good. But just like Caleb, I was also shocked that number was that high because it doesn't feel like this is where he points for. So yeah, I pulled it up and went, wow, that just felt extreme. I was expecting to be like a 3% or something.
I feel like last year, I mean, I don't know if you can pull last year or not, but I feel like he was like 2% or something, like something awful last year.
I might pull it.
Yeah, while Mark pulls that up, I really like the 10 in this spot. Curlin's Wisdom. If he improves off that first time dirt try, which I think he should, stretching out, he's definitely the horse to beat in this spot. I don't think you can ignore the 7 with the way Vasquez's barn has been going. He's 0 for 11, moving up from maiden claiming to maiden. But I don't know. This isn't exactly an impressive group of horses here. So if the 10 doesn't fire, I think the 7 is your next logical winner. I had to include the 4 for our buddy Joe Marcello, who I believe is a part owner in this horse, and I've had many a DM from him after each one of the 4's races in which he just curses out Jose Lascano. So with Dylan Davis aboard and going back to the dirt, which is I think is, I don't know. I know Tourist was a turf horse, right? Mark, yeah. So and Tourist seems to have a little bit more of a turf influence, but I don't know. The horse's best race was on the off track at Belmont, so maybe this horse wants dirt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here with this 4. I know I'm basically taking like the 2 favorites and I'm including this 7, who's probably going to be pretty short as well. But I kind of feel like I'm taking stands earlier in the sequence, and I feel like I can afford to use a couple of these short price horses here, especially since I think this race is a bit wide open. I was really hoping that you liked this 5, Mark, because if you did, man, I was going to use this 5. I had a question mark just for the Morley check, but
I would have liked to have seen something in that first effort. I didn't really see anything that I would say, whatever, let's excuse that first out try. And Morley is actually really not great with maiden second timers. So, yeah.
Joe saying, let's get that 4 to finish the year. So he's watching. He's probably got us on the TV while he's watching his kids. And Joe says if he wins, he'd be Tourist top earning 2019 full.
Ouch.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah,
And I would say, Caleb, to answer your question, it's 5% last year. So
okay, I knew that wasn't crazy. Yeah.
No. I thought the same thing. I was like, boy, when you go back 5 years, it's a very different story. So, West stats are fun.
It could just be sample size. Who knows? Last year was a weird year. Not that this year wasn't, but last year, especially with the way meets and everything got delayed and things moved around. I don't know if that's like a great sample size for that kind of stuff. But ooh, Jose just got out of the hot tub. Probably had us on the. I wonder if he had us on the TV in the hot tub there. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the sequence?
Before scratches, I think it's going to be very interesting. If there's any weather or scratches, I'm afraid the sequence gets a little tough for me because I'm pretty skinny in a couple of legs where if I get one scratch, I don't know how I'd react.
I just pulled up the sheets, and it definitely makes some of the races for me a little bit easier, I think.
Right.
So it's always good to compare different figures and different tools sometimes. Like it makes that Pletcher horse look like an absolute standout, for example. And it kind of suggests that a horse like Blewett, as we all sort of thought, might be a little vulnerable.
Which Pletcher horse were you talking about?
Untreated. I forget what race he's in. He's like the 6 horse somewhere.
Yeah, race 6.
Yeah,
yep.
the favorite race, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, on the sheets, there's a lot of interesting things there. That's why I pulled them up earlier. And maybe rather than having an opinion with the sheets, it gives you an idea of what you could play against, right?
I was I saw a couple things in here that I wanted to share. And
Anyone bet anything at Turfway in this last race?
Yeah, I win bet the 8 here, but I have some. I didn't actually win bet it. I have some exactas keying the 8 on top.
That horse is 7 of 5, son.
That's why I keyed it around the top of exactas.
Yeah.
I keyed the 8 on top of a try with the 5-6 and then the 2-5-6.
Oh hell, we're doing trifectas. Hold on.
What's your problem with that ticket, Josh?
Nothing. I just wanted to pull it up. So this is Mark's ticket here. This is his initial pass. If you guys want to take a look.
Well, don't say nothing. I didn't look at it yet.
That's a working ticket. I'm 960 is the math.
What's how many defensive B's has he got in there?
B.
Defensive C's.
I played a try here at Turfway too. 8 over 2-4 over like 6 of them. Just to mush Mark.
Was that you, Josh?
This is Brian's ticket actually.
Who's the 1?
Oh yeah. You know it.
Oh, is that the who's that trainer?
Merkton. Isn't that the cheese guy, right?
Was that the cheese guy? That was
yeah,
our.
right? That's the cheddar,
yeah.
right? The cheddar that comes in like Merkton's cheese, right?
Merton Candamati.
I like how you put like an Italian accent on the guy who's Turkish.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because he's in New York, so chances are somebody's saying it that way, right?
That's probably fair.
I thought I figured with that last name he'd be like Greek or something, but Turkish, that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So we're just gonna skip over talking about the world's fastest horse from last weekend.
Jakarta.
Yeah, Jakarta. Dude, Jakarta. What a win!
Jakarta.
What a win for Jakarta.
What you talking about? Okay, Mark. I mean,
I honestly don't even care about. I don't think we even need to talk about Flightline winning. We just need to mention that Dr. Scheibel wasn't fast enough. All I need to say. I mean, maybe he's fast enough to win like an allowance race or something, but
like the people out there watching, what they don't know is literally after our stream last week when Mark said Dr. Scheibel is not fast enough to win. Both Murphy and Stephen Fox needed to talk to him personally to tell him how dumb he was.
Just how wrong I was.
Just how wrong he was in that. The best part about that is Stephen Fox still singled Flightline anyways after having that discussion. So it wasn't, Mark, it wasn't the fact that you said that. It was the principle of the thing.
Principalities.
So, but that was a solid like 10 minutes of discussion while we're trying to play a game of League of Legends that just Stephen Fox is just sitting there just giving you the business.
I mean,
so
is there any chance we get to see Flightline, Life is Good, and Knicks Go hook up next year?
No.
2
out of
never
3?
gonna happen.
Nope.
Maybe.
Bob and Jackie look pretty good too, Mark, but you didn't see me reaching back here trying to do it. Oh
No,
yeah.
congrats on you. No, congrats on your Bob and Jackie take. That was I did not like that horse at all in that spot, and
I won't say congrats to you. I still don't like Flightline. Dr. Scheibel is still fastest.
well, this too just absolutely blew the doors off everybody.
Off everybody. That was
Of course.
The fucking 0-for-16 horse.
So that was I was live to that horse in my double that was dead, but didn't play it back in the try.
I
Genius.
queued that horse in second and third because I know he likes the synth, but I just didn't think he could win.
So
I
tell me
played
how
8/2 straight exacta. So
it went 2-8.
I mean, that was a pretty brain dead ride by Corrales there, as much as we give him credit. Like,
It moved
why
him
go
way too
head and head with the 25-1 horse?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. How dumb am I to play the 2 in a double and not put the 2 on top of the try? Boy, am I dumb.
that's why we do these streams. So
Hmm.
let the world know how dumb we are on a consistent basis.
You would have thought after losing the double in the first leg, I would have played back to 2, right? No.
So besides the carryover tomorrow, what's everyone else? Anyone else looking forward to that Santa Anita card on Sunday? I didn't have a chance. I didn't pull it up before we kind of switched gears to take a look at Aqueduct instead. So I saw that it had a number of stakes races. I know they were off. They didn't run today because of weather. But how's the card look? Any of you guys look at it?
I haven't yet, but I'm quite excited for it because I can't wait to get Santa Anita back.
I think there's a couple. I think race 9 is going to be interesting. That's the grade 3 stakes for the ladies, 200,000. Time goes by, it's going to take all the money, but I think you're going to see a lot of people jump up for a Moonlight D'Oro. It might be the best price you get there, or even something like Park Avenue. That could be a very interesting race.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, hopefully everything stays on and there's no, the track is well taken care of, which has historically been a problem there after it rains.
All I'm going to say is Beer Can Man.
Oh, is Beer Can Man running?
He is running.
Oh, I love that horse.
Against Caleb's 8th favorite horse, Commander.
I don't know who Commander is.
Didn't Mucho Unusual just run? No, who was I thinking of?
I thought you were the Commander guy, Caleb. Am I screwing this one up?
Doesn't sound familiar.
No, Caleb, I think hates Commander. That's a French horse, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, the list of courses that
it's
Caleb
bad.
hates
I can't remember the horse, but apparently I hate him.
Dude, I mean, Beer Can Man's going to be on the rail going down the hill.
Oh,
So
Bodachita.
he's definitely. I mean, Bodachita
Damn.
is definitely going to be on tickets of mine because it's going to be the first of the year. So
Oh, you mean the
that,
Saturday card, not the Sunday card. Okay.
Oh, I pulled up Saturday. Shit.
I'm looking at the first. What are you looking at?
Yeah, that's a Saturday card.
Josh said Sunday, and I thought maybe they were taking the first off. So
No, yeah, I meant Saturday's card.
no,
that
no,
was
no,
the card
no,
that we were originally going to look at. But yeah, it looks like a pretty man. It's a turf loaded card, huh?
I think that's why they
awesome.
stayed off of it so long.
I mean, the first race is on the turf. The fourth is on the turf. The sixth is on the turf. The 8th is on the turf. The 10th is on the turf. So
maybe after the first race they'll pull the pick 6 off. They wouldn't do that.
That was not a good look. That was a Naira move, if I've ever seen one.
Well, I'll tell you what, boy, that Joe Hernandez stakes came up really interesting. Delaware in there, out of the Chad Brown barn. You're getting Chewing Barn, shipping across country, getting pasta. That's a really cool race.
Let's be honest.
That's race 6.
Yeah. They're going to take races 1 and 4 off the turf, aren't they? If it's as wet as they're claiming it's been, I don't see them letting the maidens.
It's not that wet. They got
it's
not.
It's California.
But it's been able to dry for like 5 days.
Man, Delaware's out of Chad's barn, huh?
I saw that.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that as well. That's shocking, honestly.
But it's Mike Smith on grass, so go ahead.
Yeah, but it's on the downhill, so it's a different beast, and it's Delaware's best distance was definitely going mile. So I think this is going to actually fit Delaware like a glove.
Isn't somebody like Momos really interesting in there with that outside drawn speed on the downhill? I mean, probably. I know that's what really seems to work there, right?
Yeah.
That's the downside of Beer Can Man, because Beer Can Man's on the rail.
Yeah, he's probably a toss on draw, quite honestly. I mean, also, I really, really like the horse, but man.
I guess I could probably pull this back up instead of just sitting here.
Ryan's going to Santa Anita on Sunday.
Oh, nice, Ben. That'll be fun.
Nice. What the heck is Cupid's Claws doing here? Like they've been routing this horse. They've been going a mile and a quarter, mile and a half with this horse, and now they're gonna.
They're just trying to. They're throwing darts. I mean that horse is 4 for 27 lifetime, over 5 at Santa Anita, and I mean they're just trying to figure out what Cupid's Claw wants to do at this point in his career.
Well,
and you talked about Cupid's Claw because of the jockey, didn't you?
You know it.
Yeah.
It's not Mike Smith aboard.
Oh, see, it says it poured there today in California.
Yeah, that's what Ryan's saying. It poured there.
Oh, really? Yeah. Really? Oh, they got more. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was done with. So.
Yeah, it's that. I'm going to stick with my thought. I think they're going to pull at least race 1 or 4 off the turf. Probably race 1. There's like 13 and drawn into it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there, but there's never shortage of racing when we get these holidays. So, yeah, it should be a decent weekend of racing. If you like Gulfstream, I believe Gulfstream's got a number of like listed stakes this weekend as well. Sandy's got some nice turf stakes, and hopefully they stay on because they lost all those G1s last week. So,
Oaklawn,
Oaklawn, dude.
Smarty Jones, man.
Is that this weekend?
Yep.
That's Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday. There's like 14 horses entered. So.
Although Joe did mention he can't be right. He says SHRP starts this week.
I think it's the first week of January. I don't think it's like this weekend though.
Yeah, I see him on the 6th. They're racing the 5th. No, yeah, the 6th looks like the first day of Sam Houston.
Man, Sam Houston,
Dan
Oakland.
six.
I'm really not gonna have to touch Gulfstream all year. This is
Oh
this
man, that is
fantastic.
good. That is nice, huh?
I'm just gonna say it now. The first race is Sam Houston. I take the 1, Broberg and Rye Eichelberry. That's all I have to say. There's not even a morning line yet.
That's gonna be.
I will.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I will only have to touch Gulfstream for FloCal. I have some unfinished business there. I just need to find my
You're going
Mountaineer
for it
shipper.
again, huh?
Yeah, I have to, right?
Yeah, because last FloCal, didn't you finish behind the guy who got banned from Twitter?
Yeah, I think I did actually. Yeah, I did. I did. If I didn't listen to a certain somebody, I wouldn't have finished behind him. But you know,
Nobody's
that's what
perfect.
You know, if somebody was to tune in right now and be like, what the hell are those two talking about? Let's tell them. Mark liked the West Virginia shipper at Del Mar from the track of Mountaineer.
Santa Anita.
Whatever. California. West Virginia horse. Caleb talked him off of it. Horse ran good. What was it? 15-1? 12-1?
It was
It was a capper.
Or something.
Yeah, you say it out loud,
23.
Mark. I knew it was a capper. I want you to say it out loud. Close those wounds.
I didn't want that 250K. I really didn't.
It's character building.
Yeah, sure it is.
If that horse wins, you don't have one of the horses later. You don't win anyway.
That was the last horse to run.
That was
the last race. It was the last race on the set last day.
That was the last race. It was the
Hey,
last
Mark.
race, and that's why I was like, dude, take the longer price. Like, just go for it. And Mark got scared. And then Caleb's like, fuck that horse. And so
Man.
scared Mark listened to Caleb.
Holy shit. Fellas, that's when Mark A to B Capitan made his first B.
That was definitely not the first time Mark ate a B.
No,
Might be the biggest one.
maybe.
Now.
Yeah, that's
It
it's
could
clearly
be the
biggest
biggest
one.
B he's ever eaten. True. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Next week, we'll see what's going on with Sam Houston. If they're running that night, we might just focus on a little Sam Houston. We'll take a look at what weekend racing looks like. Yeah, New Year's Eve. Have a happy New Year, guys. It's a weird year for us. Weird year for probably everybody. But hopefully everyone has a safe, happy New Year. Don't get sick. I guess is the theme for this next couple of weeks. Because I mean, my family's like dropping like flies, and I got friends and everybody. So be safe this year. Drink a shit ton of bourbon and or champagne, which is what I plan on doing. Eat some good food, and hey, can't get worse than 2021, right?
That's what you said about 2020, man.
Have a happy New Year's, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you.